The largest borrower in the history of the world may pay for its own bond buybacks out of its own checking account. Don't watch. Warband. The time chain didn't sleep, and neither did we. It is Tuesday, the 25th of August, 2026. Start with the anchor. As of just after 5 o'clock this morning Eastern, Bitcoin trades at 79,700, up about 3.4% on the day. That is the highest it has traded since May, and it puts the $80,000 level, the one that turned it back Friday and again over the weekend, inside arm's reach. Solana came with it and came harder, $100, up better than 6%, back through the round number. Now the alert tape because yesterday it did not split evenly. It split cleanly. At noon, Eastern, Micron's trend rolled bearish. At 1:30, 3 flips landed in the same minute. The long bond turned green, the broad market turned red, and Taiwan Semiconductor turned red beside it. At the closing bell, the second wave, Palantir, Robinhood, Coinbase, and Silver all printed mean reversion overbought. That is the mean reversion model, stretched, not broken, and in the same minute, GE Vernova and Vertiv printed mean reversion oversold. Two of the companies that physically build and cool the artificial intelligence build-out marked stretch to the downside. On the same afternoon, the speculative end of the tape was marked stretched to the upside. So, take the board as it actually stands. Broad market red, Nasdaq red, gold and Bitcoin among the bullish anchors, and the long bond alone at the front of the pack. The single leader on our engine's read of the InvestAnswers Decision Support System, which now calls this risk off and pointed down. Sit with that shape for a moment because it is strange. Money left equities in two directions at once yesterday, into government paper and into hard money. Those two hedges have not agreed on anything in months. They are agreeing now, and they are agreeing against the stocks. Here is why the government paper moved. Yesterday, CNBC reported, citing two Treasury officials, that the Treasury is weighing tapping its general account, roughly $1 trillion, to help fund the expanded bond buyback program. Understand the standard I am holding this to. That is a reported plan, not confirmed policy. No filing, no announcement. Two officials speaking to a reporter. I hand it to you at that weight. The market did not wait for the weight. The 10-year fell 4 basis points to about 4.70%. The 30-year fell 4 to about 5.23. And at 1:30 that same afternoon, our own engine turned the long bond green. Now understand what the general account actually is, because almost nobody outside the rates desk does. It is the government's checking account at the Federal Reserve. Tax receipts land in it, spending goes out of it, and when the balance in that account falls, those dollars do not evaporate. They land in the banking system as reserves. Read that plainly. Draining the general account is a liquidity injection wearing a bookkeeping coat. 5 days ago, I gave you the borrower becoming the buyer of its own debt. This is the sequel, and it is the more interesting half. Not new money conjured by a central bank. Old money, already sitting in a vault, moved into the plumbing to bid on paper the market had been refusing to bid on. And here is the part that should hold your attention through Friday. Nobody votes on this. There is no meeting, no dot plot, no press conference, no vote count, no dissent to read. A rate cut is a ceremony, scheduled, argued over, telegraphed for months. This is a treasurer moving a balance. A vault does not need a vote. Which brings me to the other thing that moved, and to the question nobody is asking about it. Bitcoin's week was not a rally. Measured properly, it was a statistical event. Jordi Visser published a note yesterday putting the roughly 22% weekly move at about 7 standard deviations against a normal weekly swing near 3% over the prior 2 months. He also flagged the precedent, a weekly move above 5 sigma coinciding with Bitcoin reclaiming its 200-day moving average has happened twice in a decade, April of 2019, January of 2023. Both were followed by substantial further gains inside 2 months. That is his work, and I hand it to you as his, and I will add the honest caveat, he cannot be expected to add himself. 2 precedents is not a sample. It is an anecdote with a chart attached. InvestAnswers puts that 200-day line near 71,500. It had capped every rally attempt since February. It is cleared now. But the question worth your Tuesday is not how far, it is who. American spot Bitcoin funds took in roughly $2.5 billion over the trailing week, the largest weekly haul since October, including $517 million on the 19th and $606 million on the 20th. August has not printed a single net outflow day. Now set that beside a gauge almost nobody quotes. The Coinbase premium measures whether American spot buyers are paying up for a coin versus the offshore venues. From the 19th of May through the 23rd of August, it was negative for 97 consecutive days. That is the longest streak since the index began. The prior record was 40 days. So hold both facts together, because together they say something neither says alone. Through this entire 22% week, the American who buys a coin directly was not the one setting the price. The fund wrapper was. This has been an allocation, not an accumulation. Trade Press reported yesterday, citing CoinGlass data, that the premium finally flipped positive. That is Trade Press sourcing rather than a wire, and I weighted accordingly. But the direction matches the flows, and it would be the first sign in 3 months that the bid is broadening past the wrapper. Care about the difference. A wrapper position can be unwound by the same committee that authorized it in the same meeting for reasons that have nothing to do with Bitcoin. A coin in your own custody answers to no committee at all. One more, and it is smaller on the page than it will be in 5 years. On Sunday, XAE widened access to Grokbot. It's always-on agent that logs into a user's own tools and works without being asked twice, making it standard for Super Grok Plus subscribers and for Cursors Pro and Teams tiers. In the same window, Grok 4.6 reached Google's Vertex AI, carrying 500,000 tokens of context and reasoning intensity you can dial from low to ultra high. Treat that as more than a release note. An agent that acts is eventually an agent that pays. Cathie Wood has been pointing at precisely this, tying Bitcoin and stablecoins to what she calls agent commerce, machines transacting with machines, as the next real catalyst. That is her forecast, not a fact, but the mechanical problem underneath it is not a forecast at all. Machines do not keep bank hours. A settlement system that closes on Friday afternoon and reopens Monday morning cannot clear a counterparty that never sleeps, never queues, and never waits 3 business days for anything. So, carry this into the session, Warband. NVIDIA reports tomorrow after the close, into a tape that marked Taiwan Semiconductor and Micron Red inside the last 2 sessions. Kevin Warsh gives his first Jackson Hole keynote as chair on Friday morning at 8 Eastern. Both of those are ceremonies. Somebody walks to a microphone and your screen moves. The decision that actually reached into the bond market yesterday required no microphone, no vote, and no announcement. Just a balance moved from one ledger to another. That is how the money is really managed now, and it is why you hold the one ledger that no treasurer can reach into. This is Warband as a service. Viking intelligence delivered in real time. I am Ragnar, the HODLBARBARIan. Until the next dawn, sharpen the axis. Skål.